Hello and welcome to Brainwaves episode 153, bringing you the best in tabletop gaming news. My name's Ian McAllister.
And my name is Jamie Adams, and these are the headlines for the week of Monday the 11th of November, 2024. It's a small world of game design, after all. D&D concerns in latest Hasbro conference call, and board game wins coveted FSC award. All this and more on this episode of Brainwaves.
Our top story this week is a bit of a summation of the work done by Rowan Zioli over at Rascal News. This has been a months-long investigation from the Rascal team. We urge you to check out the full article over on that site, and we'd also like to thank Corey from our Discord for bringing this story to our attention. World of Game Design is a company that works with publishers to represent them at conventions. They run games and events at those conventions, help with crowdfunding, publish games themselves, run organized play programs, and sell games for clients at conventions. Over the last few years, World of Game Design has represented Modiphius Entertainment, publishers of Star Trek RPG amongst others, Stockholm Cartel, the publishers of Mortborg, Monte Cook Games, home of the Cypher System RPGs amongst other titles, Marvel, and numerous small publishers. The report by Rowan Zioli alleges that the company exploits workers and clients, often putting clients off for months and promising employees raises and jobs that never materialize. The overall thrust of the report can be summarized by this quote from the piece.
From the outside, the company might seem like a boon to the industry, a well-oiled machine placing a cornucopia of games in front of eager, unaware audiences. From the inside, it was a house of cards built on handshake deals between naive but passion-driven creatives. Atop it all is Jared Nielsen, a man who claims his road to hell was paved with good intentions.
These allegations came to light after a post on Twitter by game designer Iain Newman back in August. It began.
PSA. World of Game Design, WOGD, is unlawfully selling my books. Please do not buy my stuff from them. They currently owe me an estimated thousands of dollars in unpaid consignment sales, and have failed to return my full inventory after I gave them notice over 3 months ago.
The report details instances from 2021 to 2024. They begin with Nielsen having issues fulfilling a completed crowdfunding project and bringing on Zach Goins for research, writing, and editing services. Goins would go on to become the company's creative director later that year. Goins brought with him several freelance clients, including Modiphius Entertainment. When representing clients at conventions, World of Game Design would effectively present themselves as that client. This led to them operating 13 booths at Origin Games Fair in 2023. Goins appears to have done a decent job liaising with crowdfunding clients, but was moved on to a different role. This is where things start to fall apart. Many clients have told Rascal that communication became almost non-existent or borderline insulting when Nielsen took over the work that Goins had been doing. One client said,
Jared's opinion was that, as the creator of the TTRPG, I was not in a position to ask where and how my book was being sold, and alongside what products it would be featured.
Things really started to go downhill at Gen Con 2023. Nielsen had secured the unsold stock from Modiphius Entertainment, which was about $250,000 worth of stock. He told employees that they would have to transport all this stock across town in about 12 hours before the convention closed. One quit on the spot. The article from Rascal has a picture of how much stock that is, and I can tell you, it's a lot of boxes. Over the next year, World of Game Design tried to dig itself out from this hole. Nielsen concentrated on larger clients, leaving many smaller publishers unpaid, unsure if there were any sales, and unhappy at the way they were being treated. This lack of sales data may be due to the fact that there was no electronic tracking of inventory, mostly being done with pen and paper. Employees were now getting regular complaints from clients and the public at conventions about delayed Kickstarters, Nielsen's treatment of publishers, and the generally poor communication from the company. In December of 2023, it emerged that Nielsen had taken on no new consulting clients in the last 2 quarters of the year. He'd also been mixing the finances of World of Game Design with an offshoot company called Tabletop Fanatics that was yet to launch. Goins was meant to be in charge of Tabletop Fanatics when it eventually became a reality. As 2024 started, Goins expressed concern at the workload of employees and missing promises relating to pay. Employees, including Goins, recommended focusing on conventions and existing projects, but Nielsen ignored them. Goins eventually resigned in the run-up to Fan Expo Philly in May of 2024. After Goins left, Nielsen created accounts that showed himself as sympathetic and also claimed that Goins had stolen from the company and would have been fired if he hadn't resigned. There are numerous other allegations in the piece, including not using a properly zoned warehouse until 2024, where before they'd use a residential place owned by an employee's mother between 2023 and 24. Nielsen confirmed this in the interview with Rascal. Making employees work 40 to 50 hours a week and take on expenses that were never paid back. Making staff work 60 hours and in one case 85-hour shifts in the run-up to Gen Con 2023. Not paying staff at all. Nielsen kept the financial state of the company to himself, claiming at times that there was a lot of voodoo math that goes into making all this work. Failed to insure and properly register a company van, and then asked an employee to drive it with expired dealer paper plates across state lines. The company's continued to struggle on over the course of 2024, but has run into numerous issues along the way despite making profit at some conventions. Zach Goins responded to the Rascal piece on the day it was published. Posted on Facebook, Zach said this.
I'm very unhappy to continuously hear my former employer has taken to implicating and outright stating I resorted to theft while at the company, among other things. This has been told to me by first-hand accounts numerous times, beginning several months ago, and this article adds additional sources to the pile. To be very clear, I stole nothing. My time at World of Game Design was positive, in that it allowed me to work alongside so many incredible team members and clients. There's nothing I like better than helping creators make and sell cool shit. My reasons for leaving were due to increasing frustrations of not being able to do just that. Since my resignation in April, I have maintained a quiet, upbeat stance, pointing numerous frustrated World of Game Design clients back toward the company and encouraging them to work things out in a professional manner. When faced with angry clients, I have assumed directly my own share of responsibilities and apologised. I had hoped that this professional demeanour would be met in kind, and I appreciate all the people employed at World Game Design who have done so. Moving forward, I strongly ask that World of Game Design management follow the role models of their current and former employees. This industry is a supportive, uplifting friends space. It has no room for this sort of nonsense, nor should it.
When Rascal asked Nielsen about all the allegations in their report, he said this.
When employees leave, they blame everything on whatever. But the reality is I truly care about them, and when they make mistakes, I paid for them. When they underbid a contract, I covered them. These are my people. I care about them. I love them dearly. I care about the industry more than I should. I really want people to get their stuff published. That's my main goal.
Now, as we said at the top of this piece, this is a months-long investigation by Rowan Zioli and the Rascal team. Rascal is an independent tabletop games site. They're mostly covering a lot of industry news. They're doing a fantastic job. They need your support. So if you can throw them a few bucks, I'm sure they'd really appreciate it. I'm personally a supporter of them. This is one of their public-facing articles, so we felt comfortable covering it. And it's a big story. This is a company that has represented many, many big clients, like we said, Modiphius Entertainment at the top, Monte Cook Games, Marvel, numerous small publishers, including Tuesday Night Games, who publish the indie hit Mothership. So there's a lot of people involved in that. And it sounds like Jared Nielsen at the top of the company is a bit of a snake oil salesman, to be frank. Just not a very nice person who constantly sort of like promises more than he can deliver.
I'm not going to make much of a comment here because, well, you can make up your own minds. And I have my own opinions, but, I'm not going to do it. But just, the allegations, for example, of 60 or 85 hours, 40, 50-hour weeks, not expenses, doesn't put me in a happy place and doesn't paint the industry in a very good light. If this is the people that are working with, as Iain said, and as we said in the piece, very big companies and very big clients.
Yeah, and I don't think we can blame those companies for working with World of Game Design, because who knows what face was being presented to them and what they were being told.
Yeah.
But yeah, just be very careful who you work with, I guess.
And to echo Zach Goins, no room in this industry for this sort of nonsense, nor should it.
Absolutely not. And now from World of Game Design to, well, the company that owns our world, kind of, Hasbro.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Asmodee. No. In a press release published on the 24th of October, Hasbro, the owner of Magic the Gathering and Dungeons & Dragons, among many other brands, reported a strong financial turnaround in the third quarter of 2024. That's the financial quarter. Net earnings of $223.2 million reversed a significant $171.1 million loss during the same period last year. While revenue declined by 15% due to the sale of the entertainment division E1, Hasbro still reported an operating profit of $329 million, which might be at least in part due to the company's layoffs of just under 100 employees, including people from the Wizards of the Coast and Dungeons & Dragons teams earlier this year in preparation for the publication of the third quarter profits. Chris Cox, Hasbro's CEO, meantime declared that growth in the gaming and licensing segments were the main reason for profitability. He said this:
Outperformance within our gaming and licensing business in the third quarter highlights a strength in two of our highest profit areas. Our key initiatives around digital licensing and reinvigorating our product innovation are bearing fruit.
Gina Getter, Hasbro's chief financial officer, added,
We continue to execute our turnaround efforts and are poised to finish the year with improved profitability, cash flow, and operational rigor.
Magic the Gathering recorded a 3% revenue increase, largely due to the successful Bloomburrow and Duskmorn releases. Monopoly Go also generated $30 million in quarterly revenue, and at the same time, Wizards of the Coast and digital gaming revenue dipped 5%. Now, the press release continues by saying that sales for Dungeons & Dragons products remain pretty robust, with the 2024 Player's Handbook outperforming expectations by 50%, marking it as D&D's fastest-selling item. D&D Beyond, the digital companion platform, now boasts 19 million registered users, with their direct-to-consumer revenues being 60% of the entire sales of Dungeons & Dragons. Now, overall, Hasbro reported $630 million in year-to-date operating profits. However, concerns remain about how layoffs in the Dungeons & Dragons team, particularly departure of critical team members, could impact the brand's sustained growth. I'm going to be honest, we've seen this before. Hasbro says, we've made a lot of money. What else have you done, Hasbro? We've also fired a lot of people.
Yep, they fired a load of people in the run-up to Christmas last year. Will they do the same this year in the run-up to the sort of fourth quarter profit reports?
Ian, how many people were fired by Hasbro last year?
I don't remember it from the pub quiz, but somewhere in the region of 1,000.
I believe it was, I want to say it's 1,900, but maybe it wasn't.
But yeah, it was quite a lot of people anyway. But yeah, it does sound... I think one of the interesting things to pull out of that report is that D&D Beyond remains a huge part of Hasbro's future plans for Dungeons & Dragons. 19 million users is a huge number of people using your platform. And as the report says there, you can sell direct to them through that platform. And we may, like, if you're an older role player, then you may not like the impact of digital stuff onto your games, but it's how a lot of the younger generation are interacting with Dungeons & Dragons, and that's a positive thing.
Yep.
Yes, it's monetized to an extent. Yes, you can buy dice packs and that kind of thing on it. There's DLC, effectively. But it's how a lot of people arrange their games and arrange their characters, and that seems to be doing wonders for Hasbro and the spread of Dungeons & Dragons. So it's a bit of a mixed bag, depending on how you look at it.
Okay, now, this is entirely off the website worldometers.info. Now, if we take the 19 million users of Dungeons & Dragons Beyond, just 19 million flat, it would be the 69th most populous country in the world, just behind Somalia and just above Senegal.
Well, good to know. If they all want to move to landmass and declare independence, they can. Thanks, Jamie.
That's right. That's giving you some indication of just how many people are actually using it. Because I don't know about you, Ian, but you say, think of 100, and I can. Think of 1,000, I can kind of think of that. Or think of 1,000 people.
Yeah.
I can kind of think of that.
As the numbers get bigger, it's harder to imagine, that's for sure.
It's hard to quantify.
Yep.
But now, moving on from digital to renewable.
The FSC is the Forest Stewardship Council, and it's an international non-profit organisation that promotes sustainable management of the world's forests. Products can be marked with FSC certification to show that the wood comes from sustainably managed forests. Each year, the FSC gives out leadership awards to celebrate companies, organisations, and products that have made the move towards using sustainable wood. Many tabletop game companies have started using FSC-certified products in their games. One such game is Life in Runeterra, a release from Hasbro designed by Eric Lang, which has won a leadership award for 2024. Hasbro said of the award that they were
very proud that a game inspired by ecological succession has become the first board game to win an FSC Leadership Award.
And the FSC said,
These remarkable organizations are leading the charge from forest stewardship to final product, inspiring us all with their commitment to responsible forest management. Their work sets a powerful example for sustainable practices across the entire supply chain, paving the way for a future where forests and the people who depend on them thrive for generations to come. Now, good. This is good. Do you remember a couple of years ago, Ian? I can't remember the podcast that it was on, but it was the last one that Ian Chandler was a main member of the team on. And we talked about a version of Monopoly that was using FSC certified wood and products.
Yes.
What happened to it? Where's it gone?
I don't know, but I think these awards are for. I think the Life and Terra is like fully FSC certified, whereas a lot of companies be using sort of bits and pieces of FSC certified stuff. So I think that's where this award comes from.
So what you're saying, that splash of publicity for the FSC bits in Monopoly was just a gimmick to try and make them look good, some kind of greenwashing. Would you say that, Ian?
Surely not.
I wouldn't say that.
That would be a scurrilous accusation.
Welcome to the section of the show that Jamie and Ian do not want to be sued by Hasbro. And before we say anything else defamatory, moving on to the rest of the news. Last episode, we covered the firestorm that had engulfed the community of the Commander format of Magic the Gathering. The response by Wizards of the Coast was to bring control of the rules in-house to mitigate some of the abhorrent abuse the previous Commander Rules Committee, or CRC, was receiving, prompting mass resignations from the volunteer-led group. On the 22nd of October, Magic designer Gavin Verhey announced the new 17-member Commander Format Panel, or CFP. The list includes individuals from a diverse group of backgrounds throughout the Magic community. According to Verhey's blog post,
we want feedback from players in our community who are close to the format, are from all around the world, and who each have their own unique perspective. This isn't running every set's card through them, though on occasion we may relay individual cards or mechanics for feedback, but it is discussing anything around the format we plan on doing or trying out.
Verhey further says he expects the numbers of the panel to reduce after a short time due to his want to have extra eyes and experience during the transitionary period. But also, all the panel members will be paid for their time. He further adds,
getting 17 Commander players to agree on anything is a tall order, and these people are specifically chosen in part because they have diverse opinions. Ultimately, myself and other designers at Wizards are going to make the final calls. But I do expect that most of the time, majority opinion on the panel will win out.
Now, again, as we've kind of said before, we have limited experience on Magic the Gathering. So thank you very much to Craig on our Discord for giving us these updates. It seems that a lot of the names on the new community, again, diverse group of backgrounds, some well-regarded people in the Magic the Gathering community and the Commander community. So it seems like it's a kind of a positive thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just really glad that they're getting paid for it as well, because it, much as I'm sure the previous committee did a great job, it seemed a bit weird to me that effectively Wizards were profiting off a format that had been created by a bunch of volunteers who were not getting paid for their time, best I could tell. I hadn't realized that until we covered that story, and that gave me the bad feels. So I am glad that these folk are getting paid for their time. That's good.
Yeah. It's not nice when a company profits off something that was been so heavily involved from the fans and run by the fans and stuff like that. Anyway, yeah, we will try and keep you updated on this. If you're interested in Magic the Gathering, please let us know, because we're only hearing maybe one or two sides of this story. We'd like to hear more. Especially
if you're a Commander fan, get in touch. Let us know what you think of the changes and what you think of the future for the format is going to be. We'd love to hear from you.
But now from Commander to reaching the summit.
The Summit Awards are a historical board game focused prize that aims to recognise games that have brought new players to the hobby or introduced new subjects and perspectives. The award was created by the San Diego Historical Games Convention, an organisation which aims to create a diverse and supportive gaming community dedicated to playing, discussing, designing, and promoting historically based board games. 4 games are up for this year's prize. The British Way, Counterinsurgency at the End of the Empire, designed by Stephen Rangas. Halls of Hegra, designed by Peter Shank. Land and Freedom, the Spanish Revolution Civil War, designed by Alex Knight. We Are Coming Nineveh, designed by Harrison Brewer, Rex Brynan, Juliette Linaza, and Brian Train. This is the third year of the Summit Award, with previous winners being Red Flag Over Paris in 2022 and Votes for Women in 2023. All the nominees will have been available for play at the convention that took place from the 8th to 11th of November, the weekend just passed, and the winner will be announced by the end of the year. I think this is another one of those awards that we admire quite a lot of Brainwaves. It's not just simply giving out plaudits, it's actually trying to do something. It's trying to bring a positive change to that particular section of the tabletop community, much like the Zenobia Awards do as well, that we've covered repeatedly, because they're an excellent set of awards. I've already seen some pictures of SD HistCon, which is happening right now, where these games are going to be available, from Cole Worley, who is showing off Molly House, which is coming from Whirligig Games in the not too distant future.
Now, welcome to the second part of Jamie and Iain don't get sued by grumpy war games people. But I will say historical war games, let's say there's a lot of stereotypes and mindsets that go on in the community. Again, these are stereotypes. This is what I'm saying up front. I think historical war games, speaking personally, are more entrenched than some others. And I would say that's why we really like to champion the Summit Awards and the Zenobia Awards, because it is going, these are not always the ones that you hear about. So let's look at different facets of war. And also, can I just point out, this is, although we have not played any of the nominated games, both Iain and I have played previous winners of the Summit Award.
Yeah, I've reviewed one of them as well.
Yes, you've reviewed one of them, because we both played Votes for Women, which you had a copy of.
Yep.
And we both played Red Flag Over Paris, which I have a copy of.
Yeah, and it is worth pointing out that Kevin Bertram, the owner of Fort Circle Games that make Votes for Women, is one of our patrons, so it is worth us sort of saying that at this point, for sure. But yeah, we really like Votes for Women. I have played Red Flags Over Paris with Jamie, and it is good. I would love to play again. It's sort of, it feels very much like a sort of quicker two-player version of Twilight Struggle. It's got that kind of feel to it, of that back and forth and that card play that's in Twilight Struggle, which I really enjoyed. Definitely want to play more.
And Kevin, if you're listening, hello. If you want to disagree with my comment about historical war games, please feel free. I'm very happy to discuss this, because only by going through thesis and antithesis can we get synthesis. Now, jobs, opportunities, and events. Best place to look for that, we don't have any right now. Best place to look is on facebook.com/groups/tabletop jobs, capital T, capital J. There's usually a lot of very good stuff that is on there in the industry. But
yeah, that group's expanding quite a lot right now. Boardgamewire have just had an interview with some of the people that organize that particular group, so do go and check that article out. We'll put a link in the show notes.
Excellent. Now, speaking of events, though, I believe, Iain, you're going to be at an event at the end of this month.
Yes, I am going to be at Dragonmeet in London on the 30th of November. It's just a one-day event. It does have a sort of heavy RPG focus, as it has in the past, but there's a lot of board games and other tabletop games there as well. I'll be along with my friend Rich, and we're going to be doing some interviews on the show floor, hoping to attend a couple of the seminars there as well, depending on what time I get there. And yeah, it's always a good event. It's always nice to see people from down south that I don't get to see very often. So if you see me around, do come and say hi. If you're an exhibitor at that convention listening to this cast, do get in touch, and I'll see about swinging by your stand and having a wee interview with you. Hope to see you there.
Yeah, and if you are finding Iain hard to spot, he is very tall, and he usually has a red shirt on with a brain on it, usually on the front and on the back.
With my name on it, in case I forget.
Yes. So I also have one of them, because I also forget what my name is most of the time.
The names we can't forget, though, are our lovely, lovely patrons. Thank you so much for continuing to support the cast, especially our executive producers, Kevin Bertram from Fort Circle Games, James Naylor from Naylor Games, and Shaun Newman from the Game-A-Lot team. Thank you so much for continuing to support us at that level. You can support us for just $1 a month on our Patreon. We'll put a link to it in the show notes. That just really helps us run the cast and site. There are various other ways to support us, and we'll put links to those in the show notes. But Jamie, I'm hungry. Are you hungry? I'm hungry.
Oh, I'm always hungry. Despite me being, if I turned sideways, I'd be two-dimensional. But yes, we've got a selection of culinary curiosities to end this podcast. Now, as we may have mentioned, 2024 is the 50th anniversary of Dungeons and Dragons.
What?
Yeah, I know. Imagine that. It's a little thing. But yeah, there's a lot of tie-in items that we've covered over the year, and we're still not finished with that yet. New Holland Brewing and Distilling is based in Michigan in the United States of America, and they have paired with Wizards of the Coast to release this month both a D&D themed bourbon barrel-aged stout, but also a D&D themed meat cask-aged bourbon whiskey. Now, there's no prices as of yet, but they will be available from mid-November, so actually probably about the time that it's being released. Have a wee look. Now, it's called a bourbon whiskey because bourbon needs to be at least 51% corn, distilled in the United States, and stored in an oak barrel. That is definite, and it's a whiskey with an E because I believe, as the story goes, only whiskey that is made in Scotland is allowed to be whiskey without an E.
We had a moratorium on E's for a while in history.
Yeah,
so there's only so many to go around. But we're not done just yet. What better to pair bourbon and beer with than meat? If you are a vegetarian or a vegan who enjoys bourbon whiskey, or indeed whiskey and beer, I'm sure there's lots of other things. Unfortunately, there's no tie-in items as of right now, but we hope there are. We have from Mythical Meats, another American company, has again paired with Wizards of the Coast. They have brought out an adventurer's ration set of meat sticks. It's 12 flavors, one for each class. Now, I have specifically, in the document that we put together our news story, I have specifically not put them in because I'm wanting Ian to name a class from Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition or 2024 edition, choose your poison, and I will tell you what flavor meat stick they have. Sure.
Got it right here in front of me. Okay.
Cool. Let's go for cleric.
Cleric? Oh, this sounds good. A Hawaiian-style teriyaki wild boar with beef stick.
Why is that cleric taste?
I don't know, but it sounds cool.
Let's go for druid.
Druid? Honey barbecue-style turkey with beef stick.
Because turkeys are found in the wilds?
Yes.
Warlock.
Honey ham pork stick.
Okay, let's stop this because I'm getting confused as why these are like, so sure.
I'll do two more, which sound quite nice to me anyway. Just, okay, 3. Paladin is barbecue-style camel with beef.
Barbecue-style camel?
Yes, I believe...
Camel?
I believe Mythical Meats does a lot of different meats from around the world.
Okay, sure.
Ranger is hickory smoked venison with beef.
Okay, that does sound good.
And Rogue, slow burn alligator with beef and pork.
I feel like the rogue ones should be so tough that you can like stab someone in the back with them.
No, because why would you want to eat that then? You wouldn't.
We wouldn't. They're a rogue, so they want to... Never mind. Anyway, let's move on.
But Ian, it's all about the taste and the flavour.
Come
on, we're going on a quest. Ian, we're going on a quest to Flavour Town. Anyway, the whole pack is about $75. Again, it's in the US. I don't know if they ship to the United Kingdom if you're listening to this in the UK. But have a look if you're interested. I mean, listen, some of this stuff sounds kind of cool. Fighter, jalapeno or jalapeno elk with beef. Oh, that sounds great.
If you consume any of these, folks, do let us know how they taste.
Yeah, I want to know.
Anyway, thank you very much for listening, everyone. If you like what you've listened to, then the best way to help us out, as ever, is to share the podcast and drop us a review and rating on your podcast host of choice. You can also follow Oliver, who can be with us tonight, on tabletopgamesblog.com. You can come and join us on our Discord, where we talk about all the news articles that we cover, amongst other things, board games and all sorts on the Discord. So we'll put an invite link in the show notes to that. We're mostly on Blue Sky these days at giantbrain.co.uk. Oliver's on there as well at Tabletop Games Blog. And our Instagram is Giant Brain UK, our Facebook is Giant Brain, and our website is giantbrain.co.uk, where you can find regular reviews from myself. And if you'd like to email us about anything in the cast or have comments on any stories that we cover, it's giantbrainuk@gmail.com. Or if you'd like to get in touch about a story we should cover, we will guarantee your anonymity. Please do get in touch. We'll see you in a couple of weeks' time. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.